Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Today is Thursday, June 6th, 2019. I've got Ben North here with me. He's a web developer here in town. And I'm going to be bringing together for you our conversation talking about this list, this criteria that we put together for this website. And I'm going to be getting Ben's perspective and help on maybe some improvements to be made to this and how it is we could actually make this happen. So I've delivered this to Ben. He's reviewed this to some extent, and we're gonna be talking about it and see what we come out with. So thanks, Ben. Really appreciate it. Um, so I've already given you the name of the business. I've actually registered with the county both
Okay.
Steel Professionals Consulting Group and SBC Group. So I've obtained both fictitious business names. I've looked, and from as near as I can tell, SBCgroup.com does not seem to be an active domain. So
Okay, I'll look it up and
I think-
double check for you guys.
yeah, nothing came up, and then just recently this weird Chinese depiction of something that says under construction comes up.
Then
I don't know what
then
that
it
means.
then it means it's not available usually.
Okay.
But they might let it go cheap.
Okay.
So it might be $10 or.
Yeah, that's not big.
So
I kind of figured that's what it was.
or they might be like they went to 100, or they may not. You never know. Sometimes people hold on to weird URLs for weird reasons. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll look into that.
Okay.
See what the deal is, and then you guys have a GoDaddy account, or how do you guys for your URLs? Do you know where you store them? And when we go live, we go into the DNS stuff. Or Floyd probably does DNS stuff. He probably doesn't want people in there. But
What is that?
so that's just where you're pointing. You go in and you tell the place where your URL is stored. You tell it where to point. So you give it the server information whoever's hosting. Like if we were hosting this, we just point it towards our server, and you just go in and tell that.
Okay.
And usually IT guys just do that themselves because they don't want people in the URL place because it's kind of a security issue.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But Floyd would just take a second.
What would be our options if we were to do this separate from Metalworks? I think that's kind of the intent we're going for.
Okay.
It isn't. I mean, it's like a collective effort, but it's going to be a separate business, and to that point, we're trying to also separate the assets.
Oh, okay. So I'm a big fan of web developer companies not having URLs.
Okay.
Like that needs to stay with the client.
Okay.
Just too many things can go wrong.
Yeah.
So you just set up a GoDaddy account, buy the URL,
Yeah.
give me the login, and we go in, but that way it's always URLs just always need to stay in your guys' account.
Okay.
I mean there's been some weird problems I've seen where people retire or just disappear and the client can't get to their URL. And
Like, oh my god, wrong enough people.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like,
All right.
I don't plan on going anywhere, but I always feel better when the client has the URL.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me about you. What makes Mercy? Super cool.
Okay. That's pretty.
Yeah, and you just GoDaddy takes you would do GoDaddy or Namecheap or whatever. I like GoDaddy. I hate GoDaddy, but it's what we use. It's what we're comfortable with. But any of them, it's and you just go in, you set up an account, and you see if it's available. Or if some other version of it is available, and then you just buy it. It takes like 5 minutes for the whole thing.
So, where does you were talking earlier about keeping something on the server?
Yeah, so the site will be, if we build it, it'll probably be on our server.
Okay.
And then the URL just gets pointed to our server.
Okay.
But I mean, there's all kinds of, like if we do a WordPress site, it'll be on our server. But there's all kinds of server options out there depending on what you're building. But something this simple will just be a quick WordPress. We don't need some crazy fast dedicated server.
Yeah.
Not yet, anyway.
Okay. All right. So I'll definitely keep that in mind. Other than that, the website itself, at least what we have in mind, one of the things I was trying to be mindful of is I personally tend to get really wordy, like when I'm putting stuff together, and especially for like marketing, I have found that to be less than effective. Having too much words, more of like kind of concise and to the point, given the information that they need. right up
in
front.
the era of limited, people just have no attention span anymore. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Especially on a website. I mean, I'm thinking of the way I use websites. It's almost quick and dirty. I'm looking for what it is that I need or want. If I don't find it, I move on quick.
Bullet points are great.
Yeah.
People read bullet points and they'll skip the paragraphs.
Exactly.
Search engines don't skip the paragraphs though. So finding that, what I found works because you need content for search engines to rank.
Okay.
A lot of times you bullet point your main points and make sure your contact information or quote request formally that is really easy to find.
Okay.
But then you do need a fair amount of content if you want to rank. And so just kind of make it really easy for people that are in a hurry and browsing and need the information quick. But then you've got that content for anyone that wants to do a deep dive or for Google to really let them know who you are and to help push you up those rankings.
Okay.
And so finding that, and there's a couple of ways you can split the content into a blog, which is a nice thing about WordPress, so you don't have to have it all on your homepage and create all these other pages. So you can have that content on your blog linking back to your own page.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of ways around that. And if you build it from the ground up with that in mind, like the content continuing to come in and you need to build on that. If we start from the ground up, it's kind of a seamless operation.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what kind of particular words or vernacular would be.
We'll do keyword research and kind of figure out what when we have an idea of exactly who the potential clients are and what they're going to be looking for.
Yeah.
We can look into that and see.
Okay.
What, and then you can kind of dial that in to where you're like, man, we're getting a lot of contacts, but it's not not customers, not the they're kind of having our time wasted, and we can kind of get rid of some stuff and replace it with some other stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
That's always kind of like, oh, oops, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which I've done to myself on my own sites. Like, oh, we have this great traffic and no conversions. That something's wrong.
Yeah. All right. So how hard is it? I'm just curious, from a purely ignorant standpoint. How hard is it to make adjustments to the content of the website?
Super. It'll blow you away.
Okay.
I mean, for most of the actual content, stuff in the header or anything that's sort of design oriented.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more, But as far as, or if you guys had a sidebar or anything like that, which I don't foresee with this site this size, since we're not selling product, then there a little bit. But for just going in and changing paragraphs, and sometimes formatting may get messed up, and in which case, just text me and fix it really fast. That's the worst thing that would ever happen.
Yeah.
Some kind of weird format. But usually we lock the formatting in to where it's tough to do that.
All right. Getting a little mid-discussion adjustment for the sake of the sun.
Yeah.
All right.
They just have like a different purposes of what they're all about, but
So,
it's just different.
what questions, if any, do you have?
Number one is, who is the client? Like the potential client. I mean, I have a pretty good idea from this, but like even a little more dialed in. Like,
So primarily, it's going to be design teams, so architects, engineers, and contractors. Kind of the goal, the main initiative behind this is there's a construction procurement process called design build, in which case, so the traditional method would be that a developer or an owner would go to an architect with some criteria and say, hey, I want this to be built. You need to come up with a design and employ the engineers to come up with that. And then once they had all that compiled, then they can go out to contractors who can bid the work. And a design build process, they would actually be going to the contractors. They can go to multiple of them and say, hey, here's my baseline criteria. I want this at a minimum. And in some cases, they'll even go as far as to say, this is my budget for it. I'll pay you this much money. You need to give me a proposal on a project development that's going to meet at least my criteria, but you need to come up with the best value in it. So in some scenarios, they have a GMP. It's called a guaranteed maximum price. and they're like, within this range of funds, you need to give me the best development that you possibly can. And then they will actually compare their options. So multiple contractors will employ multiple design teams, and they'll come up with proposals. It's called the RFP process, request for proposal, which precedes a quote, and then they rank them on a best value. So they all at least have to meet the baseline criteria, but some of them will find more cost-effective means to accomplish certain aspects of that, which gives them more funds for more like landscape architecture or artwork installation and stuff of that nature. So the client's getting the best bang for his buck is the idea behind that. What we want to be doing, right? So we're not doing the entire development, but we're at least structural steel is a pretty fair, costly amount of that goes into it. And there's a lot of things that we see in their designs in structural steel and just the materials they incorporate into it that could be infinitely improved, but only we know that. We're the ones with hands-on and actually producing that. They're just the ones designing it, and we're subject to what they dictate to us. So we want to get involved. And during design build, it's open opportunity to make any changes you want to improve their proposal. So we want to provide that perspective and insight to them so that they can reduce, they can improve the viability of their steel design, reduce the
if they've
cost.
got a cost number associated with their steel design here, and they come to you guys and go like, what can you do to make this cheaper?
Yeah.
Better or both?
Yeah. From a trade professional perspective, we could say, well, hey, you're going to have some problems here. It's going to be really hard to fabricate. It's going to be really hard to ship. It's going to be really hard to erect. Or maybe these members are just like, you've called out something that's incredibly hard to source. You could go with something that's even heavier, like more structurally sound. So in their mind, heavier is always more expensive. But in our mind, sometimes if I have to get it overseas or from the East Coast, and there's one mill that does this run twice a year, it's going to be more expensive than buying something that's a little heavier, but more of a
end result may be that they back out of the RFP and you just save them a bunch of heartache and time and money.
Or at least it improves the value. If we can reduce the cost of their steel scope, then that's more funds they have afforded to do some of these other things that are kind of more curb appeal that the developer's going to be interested in. What makes your RFP different than the others? And another thing that it does is for public works, which we do a lot of. There's a lot of laws and regulations surrounding the competitive bid process for public works. So some steel fabricators that do really large private projects, they have like a pre-construction business development team, and they'll do things of this nature, kind of like what we're talking about.
Right.
But they won't. They tend not to do it for public works because if their intent is if they go in there and they approve your design, obviously they want to be shuffled to contract for that job. They're working towards it. Well, in public works you can't. Because once you come up with your design, legally it has to go to open market to bid.
Oh, wow.
They have to receive, if at all possible, no less than 3 bids, and it has to go to the lowest bidder. It's competitive bid process. So they can't have a good old boys club of tax money funding certain contractors just because they like them. It has to be competitive. So they kind of stay away from doing this on public works because it could be a lot of work they put into it to not even get the job. By separating the companies, we could work on more projects than even what our fabrication shop can control. And it also kind of disassociates in the sense that there's not even this expectation. Like, there's no hard feelings if we don't get the job. We're here this company is here to improve your design. Other companies there to do the work. Right. So we kind of have to keep that separate, and that's another reason why we're branching off.
And one of the things that wasn't on here that I would recommend, especially in this day and age where people tend to not read a whole lot, is kind of either a team page or just basically a page that really kind of dives into your guys' qualifications. And you guys have done a massive amount of steel work. It's pretty. Just kind of lay that out in some way, shape, or form for sure. If you have a decent sized team at some point, I think it's good to include like pictures, and it doesn't even need to be that big, like 3 or 4 people, and like just that personal touch seems to be that actual face just makes everything a little bit more personal, a little bit easier to reach out to.
Okay.
Seems to me a little easier to reach out to.
And I did consider that. The only reason why I didn't was because most of the people that'd be involved with this would be like contract employees. The actual on-staff employees of this business are very, 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 very few.
Okay.
Most of the resources we'd be utilizing to provide this perspective would be erectors that we work with, so they don't even work for us or this business. But we could bring them in and pay them like.
So then we just do a page that kind of generally talks about personnel, and you
Yeah.
don't ever say employees, or just talk. And then we don't use pictures or anything right away, but we just talk about. I mean, because even outside contractors. I mean, I've got outside contractors I use for almost every project, so it's kind of just talk about their qualifications without getting too specific.
Okay.
Kind of bullet point that stuff out.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, I agree with that. I can definitely drop that.
That's it. And that's I think a bullet point of this. There is probably
For most of these, at least the 6, I try to condense it to the most impactful of the 6 services that I listed out there. There's almost different contacts in my network I would use for any one of these different services.
Oh wow.
So we could kind of tie that to, well, we work with teams that provide this service, and it would almost match this list right here.
Yeah. So you'd kind of be the guy that was like, someone comes in and they're looking for your help with a project, and so depending on what the project was, it's you and these people over here, or these guys here. So you're kind of the railroad guy choosing the track. Okay.
Exactly. It depends on the type of project, where they're at in it, and actually what its needs are. I'm not just going to have everybody in the room. I'm only going to bring who could actually impact that project, which could be different on any and all projects. So it may not be all of these, but at least some of them, if any of them at all. The point is, I know the guys who have the perspective, and in the design build, we can provide that on the front end. They can improve the project.
And I guess that's really what you're offering is your network. A big part of what you're offering is you guys have built this network of people you trust that you've worked on multi-million-dollar projects with, and you wouldn't hesitate to do it again. And you're bringing in their expertise.
Exactly.
So make sure you just communicate that for sure.
Okay.
That's I don't know. If I was about to jump into a project like this, I think I'd make it feel better.
Yeah.
And then just a quick bullet pointed thing.
Okay.
That I think would be the other thing. And then any websites that you see along these lines, any other consulting type websites that you think, okay, this is. It doesn't have to be. I mean, it could be about something completely different. It could be a water park.
Yeah.
But or say a water park consultation service or whatever. But and just send me any links that you come across that you like, or even if just a part, I like the way they did this, or laid this out, or the way this type of graphic, or that sort of anything you come across like that.
Yeah.
So go ahead and send it our way, and then kind of with WordPress we're a little bit locked in, but we can do pretty much whatever.
Okay.
Depending on the time. And then the other thing is questions that potential customer would have. Maybe they're on the fence about emailing or calling, or they're just not quite there yet, but they're it's midnight, and this happens a lot where the type of person that owns a business, he's up at midnight stressing about something, he's online searching for stuff. We'd like him to land here, and one of the best ways to do that is an FAQ page.
Okay.
So and with consulting, it's a little bit different because you don't want people to pay for information. You don't want to give away everything, but I just kind of list of questions that people that are potential clients will be asking, like really specific.
Yeah.
And what we'll do with that is the ones, and there will be say we've got 12, or let's say we have 20. And at the end of 2 or 3 months, we look and out of these 20, these 5 will just get hit over and over again. Those become blog posts.
Okay.
Those become full on. We really delve into it and become the expert and really get people to call.
Okay.
They read that and they're like, oh yeah, these are the guys I need to talk to.
Yeah.
And FAQs are great because a lot of times spend all this time and money writing all this content for all these blogs, and then you've got 20 and only 5 of them are getting traffic. But an FAQ page kind of clears that up and saves a bunch of time and a little bit of money.
All right.
they're
I love when your hair's
yeah,
half
very customers. Even when
Like
customers
that, it
are
looks so
asking
cute.
questions, I've like sometimes I'll hear a question like, oh, that's got to go on our FAQ page. Oh man, that's the fourth time I've heard that in 2 months, or
Yeah.
you know, in a week
Yeah.
or whatever, and like
Yeah.
that needs to go there. And
Sweet.
it's amazing how much business an FAQ page will bring in. Like, it's almost embarrassing sometimes because like they don't take a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then you're like, man, this and this took like a week, and this took, you know, half a day, or this took 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And this is what's bringing in the traffic and the conversions. So, but it's for sure worth doing. And then it, like I say, it does kind of point in the right direction.
Okay.
And sometimes open up stuff that you didn't think was a potential, whatever.
Yeah.
Especially location specific. Like you guys are pretty much West Coast, you know, and sometimes things are in the construction world, I'm sure, different on the East Coast or the Midwest.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like, so you may get stuff you're like, oh, didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, and then obviously we're gonna have like a contact form where they're like, you know, fill it out, send it in. So
Yep.
you've got quite a bit. You've got the stuff here that you want from them.
Yeah.
Do you want to leave a spot where they kind of can tell you a little bit about what they're interested in before you contact them, or you just want to just have their straight contact information? The only reason I say that is for spam. Because there are these farms, I forget what they're called, forum farms or something like that, where they, like in other countries, where they just go through and just, you know, fill these out, and then they try to sell you something. But if you make them say a little, if you leave a spot for them to say a little bit about it,
Yeah.
then they're less likely to get with that. And then you don't make it mandatory; they don't have to put it there. But
In all honesty, there would and should be a place for them to kind of give a comment to what it is they're looking for. In this industry, if they weren't tell you what they were looking for, I know it's spam. If that makes any sense. Even if it wasn't like explicitly stated.
Right.
If they didn't, if they just said, "Here's who I am, and my phone number," nobody in this world would do that.
Okay.
Like, no one.
Okay.
It's hard enough getting business cards out of these people.
Right.
Let alone they're not just going to be out there. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I would never call or email somebody who didn't tell me what they're looking for.
Okay.
Because they would never, in my mind, if I was to be using this service, I would
Right.
never not tell them what I'm looking for. It wouldn't make much sense.
Okay, cool. So we just want to make sure. So I'll definitely have a spot for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from for graphics, are we just looking for mostly pictures of steel construction, like stock photos of steel construction stuff, and
Yeah.
maybe just steel?
real basic stock photos. Steel going up in the cranes.
Okay.
Like guys in hard hats bolting stuff together, like blueprint
A
drawings.
million of
laid
those
out.
out there, yeah. Those are diamond dozens.
Yeah.
Okay, that's easy. Yeah, so if you have a minute online looking through stuff, and just send me links of anything you like, or even that you hate. If there's something like and obviously not an ugly site, I don't know, but like if there's something that you see in the industry, something that you just really, we don't want anything like this, send me that too. Any sort of and then I'll kind of, we'll look at some, for how small this is at the beginning, we'll look at some templates and just kind of send you some links, and these are just going to be generic. There'll be like on the links there's going to be example sites, and they just kind of show what can be done with the templates, and then just kind of pick the template that you like.
Okay.
And they're all like $40 or $50 or something. They're all about that price. So
Cool.
and we'll just send you those. But yeah, some people get distracted by the content. You know, it's only about, and don't even worry about the colors. It's just
layout.
Layout is it? Yeah. I don't know. I've got that comment a lot. Like, oh, but I don't know. The colors will be yours. Yeah.
So how about I don't know if you guys do this. We'd also need a logo. Do you do?
Yeah, we do. We have there's a couple ways to do a logo. One of the ways is I've got a couple of like really cheap graphic designers overseas.
Yeah.
That are like, they'll do a logo for like $75 or something.
Yeah.
And I've gone through, I don't know, over 20 of them. And now I have like 3 that I use regularly.
Yeah.
So there's that, or then we can use a graphic designer, like an actual American graphic designer, and that process is a lot more in depth and a lot more expensive, usually like $1,500 or $2,000. And then sometimes people just start with the cheap ones, and then when they reach a certain point, they morph that. Then they hire a graphic designer and they tweak it. So
Gotcha.
those are kind of the options
Gotcha.
for that. But yeah, the price difference is huge.
Apparently.
Yeah, it's crazy. So one of the things I do with like kind of small projects like this that are kind of small, and
Yeah.
like this isn't a clothing brand or a your no branded project, so it's not like is I'll just hire like 3 of these guys to do mock-ups for $150 or $200,
Yeah.
and then you end up with like 21 things to go through.
Yeah.
And you can be like, okay, I like this one.
Yeah.
And then I get the AI file, and then if you're like, but I want to change this, then we can make that little change, and you're out the door for $250 or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Cool.
we
All
can,
right.
we can do that.
Cool.
As small as this is, right now, I mean, cost-wise, we're probably looking at, without the logo, just for the web stuff, I'm guessing like $550, $600, maybe somewhere in there.
Okay. Wow.
And then, down the road, if you want to start adding a blog and more content and stuff, we can just kind of figure that out on a monthly thing.
Yeah.
Go. Cool. Yeah. So just send me anything you see that you like or don't like, and I'll send you a couple of templates. The templates I'll send you are ones that we use regularly and that are fast. So loading time is a big deal. Especially
that
I'm
makes
guessing
sense.
a lot of your stuff may be mobile from a job site even or something. I don't know. So
Yeah.
it'll be sites that load really quick or that we've been able to get to load really fast. Just so that we don't have a lot of drop off, and so we can rank pretty high. And then hosting, he's doing $280 a year. I think our hosting is $280 a year.
Okay.
But that won't kick in so when we build a site, the first year is free,
Okay.
and then so hosting will be, I believe, $280 next year. I'll double check on that, but I believe $280. Hosting, and then that includes like all the WordPress updates and security stuff and all that.
Okay. Keep that in mind too.
And yeah, I think we got it all.
Thank you I really appreciate it.
No, this will be fun. Thanks.
If anything else comes to
Nice
mind.
talking to you. Yeah, and I'll shoot you an email and